The opinions expressed on this program represent the viewpoints of individual authors or contributors and do not necessarily reflect those of Troy University. This is Alabama Politics with Steve Flowers, an in-depth interview with Alabama's top political newsmakers. Now, from the studios of Troy University, here is Steve Flowers.
I'm Steve Flowers, and welcome to Alabama Politics. Folks, we're fortunate to have one of my favorite guys from the state legislature, one of the outstanding members of the State House of Representatives, Rhett Marques from Enterprise in Coffee County. Rhett is a very, very well thought of member of the House of Representatives here in Montgomery, and he represents one county. Basically, Coffee County is one county in the district. It's a great delegation, the Wiregrass, led by my lifetime friend Steve Klaus, who has Dale in Houston. But Rhett is not only serving his 7th year in the House of Representatives. He was on the show when he first got in the House about 5 years ago. But he's running for the United States House of Representatives, the congressional seat, which is an open seat because the incumbent Barry Moore is running for the U.S. Senate, and they're from the same county. Rhett, good to have you on the show.
Great to be here with you, Steve. Really appreciate you.
I tell you, the Wiregrass delegation is really rallying behind you, which tells you that home folks know you best. There's an old saying that home folks know you best. And those guys I mentioned, like Steve Klaus and Donnie Chastain and Mayor Sorrells. How does Jeff say his name?
Sorrells.
I always get that confused. Jeff Sorrells. All those guys are for you. Paul Lee.
Marques Paramore.
Yeah, all of them for you.
Matthew Hammett and Rick Green.
Matter of fact, the entire. I've got a good picture of you and me and Wes Allen and Jeff Sorrells on my wall at my house, and anyway, I love that picture, but and Klaus is in there too.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, while we're on that subject, tell our viewers the entire Republican caucus in the legislature primarily has endorsed you in this race.
Well, about half of them.
Half of them.
Yeah, and of course led by Speaker Nathaniel Ledbetter, who has done a fantastic job as Speaker, and really proud to have that. And the members of the House endorsed me, and Senator Chastain also endorsed me, and just it's an honor. And you're right about that, the Wiregrass delegation, Steve. It's and you know this from being up in Montgomery quite often. I don't think you'll find a tighter group. And
no.
We work very well together. We think a lot of each other. We travel together. Our wives go to dinner together, and when they're with us, and so it is a special group of gentlemen, and I'm proud to be just a small part of it.
Rhett, excuse me if you would, the House of Representatives seat that you're running for, the congressional seat, I'm going to tell our viewers this, it is basically a new seat, y'all.
That's
it was
correct.
drawn from the court-drawn districts when they tried to create a predominantly Democratic district. Excuse me, when they went from Montgomery to Mobile, they put the Wiregrass in with Mobile and Baldwin. It's only been 2 years since that happened.
Yes, sir.
And Barry Moore went to the House. He'd been representing the old 2nd District, the one we mostly know about. Most people in this viewing audience realize think of the 2nd District as Montgomery to Dothan.
That's right.
But it's changed. Montgomery went into the Democratic District, and then the Wiregrass was left to go in with Baldwin and Mobile, which is an ultra-Republican district, but it's a strange district.
It is.
It's a strange district.
Two different distinct areas.
It is, with 2 distinct federal issues, so it's a tough district to represent. But anyway, it is what it is. You appear to be the Wiregrass candidate, but hit on all this and take your time with it and explain the district and what made you run for it. But you also have a unique situation, and you were born and raised in Fairhope in the Baldwin part of that district. And I remember you bringing that out when I was sitting here when we first on TV 5 years ago. I said, were you born and raised in Enterprise? He said, no, I was born and raised and spent my whole high school career in Baldwin County. Now, so tell our viewers about being born in Baldwin County. And did you start that tire business on your own in Enterprise?
No, sir. We bought it.
Okay.
And
I'm rambling about that. I mean,
yeah. Well, I appreciate you asking this question because I'm going to start from the beginning because you asked, kind of why I wanted to do this, and it is a unique district. It is two distinct areas. You have the coast area, Mobile, Baldwin, and I'll include Escambia County in that, and then you have the Wiregrass from Covington all the way to the Georgia line. And when Congressman Moore decided to run for the Senate, I told my wife, I said, I bet there's very few people that have lived their entire life in that district because it is so different. And when he decided to run for Senate, I told my wife, I said, I can do that job. I know that district. And I'm proud to have grown up and lived 27 years of my life in the first 27 years of my life in Baldwin County. Graduated from Fairhope High School and went on to the University of Alabama and came back with the wife and Christina. And
y'all met at the University of Alabama.
Yep, we met at the University of Alabama. Yes, sir. Been married for 31 years, and had our first daughter in Baldwin County. And then in 2000, an opportunity came about to buy a business in Enterprise.
An existing tire business?
An existing tire business.
What's the name of that business?
It was Goodson Tire and Auto Center.
Okay.
My father-in-law was in the wholesale tire business and called me one day. I was an Alpha agent in Mobile. Christina was working at the Bank of Mobile at the time, and my father-in-law called me and said, do you want to go into business together and buy a store in Enterprise?
Did he have some ties to Enterprise?
None. Zero. No ties to Enterprise at all. And it was one of those opportunities that I've always wanted to own my own business, and I went into business with my father-in-law at the time, and 24 years later, I still had it. We sold it November of 23. But Enterprise is a fantastic place to raise a family, just like Baldwin County is a fantastic place for me to grow up. And we had that tire store in Enterprise. We raised our daughters in Enterprise, and because of that, I think I'm the unique candidate for this district. I understand, and know my family still lives in Baldwin County.
Your mom and dad still live?
My mother has passed away, but my dad still lives in Spanish Fort. I have a brother in Mobile and a sister in.
You do have. You said you're 27 years old.
Yeah, well, no, I lived my first 27 years in Baldwin County.
Yeah.
I'm 52 right now, but the remaining 25 I've lived in Enterprise. But because I have family in Mobile and Baldwin County, I understand the needs that they have, infrastructure needs. You know, the fact that the port is now the second deepest port in the Gulf of America, and the needs of a new bayway, getting over it because of the congestion. The port, as it grows, has to have a way to move that product. We are the bottleneck. I-10 is the bottleneck between Florida, who has 6 lanes coming in, and Mississippi that has 6 to 8 lanes coming in. Alabama only has 4 lanes, and you try to get those 4 lanes and all those people and all that product through a tunnel, it just bottlenecks. And so we have to fix that, and I understand that. And we also need to make sure that we can get tourists and people who live on Pleasure Island and Gulf Shores and Orange Beach out. We need to make sure that we have a better infrastructure down there. And, in the Wiregrass, obviously you have Fort Rucker.
Yeah.
And it is extremely important to the defense of this country, but Fort Rucker is the economic engine of the Wiregrass. We need to protect it from the BRAC. We need to make sure that our farmers from one side to the other, because Baldwin County is a huge farming area, just like the Wiregrass is in Mobile. So we need to make sure we protect our farmers and get a comprehensive farm bill taken care of, and I plan on going to D.C. and helping do that.
Well, you do have that in common that with Baldwin and the Wiregrass, and that the people don't realize Baldwin's grown so much and think of it as a suburban county.
Yep.
But I remember growing up. I'm older than you, and so I remember growing up and reading history books where Baldwin County was the potato growth. All the German people settled there, and
in Alberta.
Yeah, and I talked to John McMillan about it. He was on the show all the time, and he was agriculture commissioner. and was in everything in the state and state treasurer for a while. But he remembers the day when Baldwin County was such. We would study Alabama history. It was known as the potato capital of the world. It was so dominant that those kids got out of school in the fall. John remembers getting out of school when he grew up in around Bay Minette, and they picked potatoes.
It's still a, most people think when they think of Baldwin County, they think of the Eastern Shore, Spanish Fort, Daphne, Fairhope, Point Clear, and they think of Orange Beach and Gulf Shores. But that is the second largest county, I believe, east of the Mississippi. Geographically.
Yeah.
And it has a lot. It has a lot of agricultural. Now there's a lot of sod farms down there. But when I was growing up, there was a lot of potatoes, a lot of soybeans. Now there's a lot of peanuts.
So sod farmers become number one.
Yeah, I would imagine there's a lot of sod farmers down there.
Rich, changing back to the wiregrass, though, you have got a real good experience having run a business there, tire business for 25 years. You really get to know the economy of a region when you're selling tires to the people who live in coffee and the wiregrass, which you did for 20 years. Plus, and you realize how important Rucker is.
Absolutely.
You saw how many of your customers were Rucker soldiers, plus farming.
Yes, sir.
You sold a lot of farm tires, didn't you?
Oh, yes, sir. We had.
You realize those two things, how important.
Absolutely.
If you took agriculture and Fort Rucker out of the wiregrass,
you wouldn't have.
You wouldn't have had a tire business, would you?
No, sir. You wouldn't. You'd have very little. Matter of fact, if you took Fort Rucker, and I wasn't born yet, but you'll remember this. I know. I've heard stories, and I've seen the results of it. In 1965, Lyndon Johnson, Alabama did not vote for him, and he shut down Craigfield and Selma, which is where my wife's from, and he also shut down Brookley Field in Mobile, and it really hurt Mobile until Airbus and Aristotle came down, and the port is starting to grow. But it took 50 plus years to get back. Selma's never recovered because of it. You take a base out of an area and that economic impact that they have, and you just hit on it with the number of military that we have down there, active duty, but retirees.
Right.
We have the heaviest or most concentrated population of retirees than any other place in the state of Alabama. And so if you took that away, it would be devastating not only to the state and to the nation, because everybody that flies an Army helicopter trains at Fort Rucker, but it would kill the wiregrass.
So obviously a congressman from that district, it was a given that when the old 2nd district included Montgomery, and you had Maxwell Gunner here and Rucker and the wiregrass, that it was imperative that your congressional delegation, or whoever represented the 2nd district, got on agriculture and armed services.
That's correct.
And,
which is what I would want to be on.
Are there any openings there? Now Moore's on ag, isn't he? Moore's on ag now. Yes, armed services would be important.
Yeah, right. I'm not 100% sure what he is. I know he's on judicial, but I think he's on ag.
I worked for Bill Dickinson. That's how far back. I worked in Bill Dickinson's first campaign in 1964. I was a senior in high school at Charles Anderson High School. I was his Pike County campaign manager. Then I worked for Bill when he went in Washington and Montgomery. He served 28 years, and his whole devotion was Fort Rucker. I mean, Maxwell Gunner was important too,
right? Because
he had Montgomery, but
sure.
But he became the ranking Republican on armed services. He was the ranking Republican, and that's why. We've got some pretty big plants there in Troy.
Absolutely.
The Martin, Sikorsky plant there.
Martin
and we got that there. I mean, yes. Bill got it there. We all tried to claim credit for it. He got it, both of them. Yeah. He went on their board. Right. He was so important that they're there for that reason.
They are, and even though Pike wouldn't be in this congressional district, Pike is very, Pike County with Troy University and those that you just mentioned with Sikorsky and Kimber now and Lockheed Martin, they are vital. And I want to go ahead and say that we are blessed to have a president like President Trump right now in office who believes peace through strength, because of the fact that it's vital to him. I think the reason why he's been able to do what he's done in Israel and these others, stopping all these other wars, is because of the fact of places like Fort Rucker, the places like Troy, with Lockheed and Sikorsky building up and having a strong defense. And Senator Brett is also somebody who champions that, and I look forward to helping President Trump get his agenda over the line and the bills passed, but also helping support and work with my good friend and your good friend, Senator Katie Brett, who's done a phenomenal job in Washington, and the rest of the Alabama delegation. Because this goes from Huntsville with Redstone, Maxwell, you mentioned, to Rucker, even to Mobile with the building of the Stottle building of the destroyers and soon to be the submarines that they're about to build. I mean, that is vital to the state. And Congressman Mike Rogers, I think, does a great job on House Armed Services.
He does. I tell you one thing that I was just totally impressed with. Katie Britt never has and never will forget her home roots.
Correct.
In Enterprise. And so therefore, I think Katie's got a long career in the U.S. Senate. She's only 42 years old. But she's going to always make Fort Rucker a priority, which helps you as a congressman there. But what I was getting around to saying is that's unusual for a sitting U.S. senator to openly endorse someone and give a campaign contribution. That raised a lot of eyebrows. Like, they must have a good working relationship for Katie Britt to go out of her way to endorse. So she's endorsed you. Katie Britt has endorsed you, which is a real coup in my opinion, because Katie is a great senator and will be, and y'all must have a great working relationship.
We do, and
are y'all's families close or something too?
Well, sort of, but with Wesley and Katie, their relationship and their friendship with Christine and I is special to us. Wesley does a great job when he was with Alabama Power, now at Fine Getty, and when Senator Brett, then Katie Brett, came back as chief of staff from Senator Shelby's office and came to BCA. We had a prior knowledge of each other and working relationship. I was on the Enterprise City Council, and she was with Senator Shelby. But it goes back to your point. It goes back to when Christina and I first moved to Enterprise and had bought the tire store. Senator Britt's dad, Julian, had a boat store about a quarter of a mile from us. And Julian would come by, and we always did business together for a long time. And we have just been good friends, and Deborah, Deborah and Julian and Deborah Boyd are just two of the best people, and they did, and I tell Julian this a lot, and what Deborah and Julian, how they raised all four of their girls is unbelievable, because all four of them are special ladies, but just incredible at everything they do.
You're exactly right. Julian and Deborah Boyd are just fantastic people. I never forget, probably years ago now, Katie was chief of staff. Maybe she was just PR for Senator Shelby. We all met for dinner at the Rawls, and I met Julian and Deborah for the first time. And Enterprise is the fastest growing, probably most prosperous city in the Wiregrass for several reasons. But I think the school system's helped it a lot too.
Sure,
having such a good school system,
schools.
Having a good school system. But I'll never forget that Julian I didn't know this. Every time I mention his name, somebody's in business with him. It's like you may have been in business. I was talking to Billy Cotter. I went out for Jimmy Baker's building thing, and Cotter says I'm in business with Julian Bond or something. He must have 4 or 5 hand in 4 or 5 businesses or something. But who else was telling me? He's a good businessman. He is a good businessman. I didn't realize he was just involved with everybody's business. But I also asked John Mitchell. I said, John is because I knew he loved Katie. I said they must trade with you. He said every one of the Boyd family drives one of my cars.
That's true.
He said they drive one of my cars. Now you're in a perfect time to run for that congressional seat. Not only are you perfect geographically, you're by far the only candidate who was born and raised in one part, spent half of your life there, then half the rest of life in raising your family and enterprise and running a successful business. But both of your daughters are grown now, out of the house.
24 and 26.
When you first came on the show, one of them was still in college, I think.
Oh, I'm sure. Maybe even both of them. One may have been, I think my youngest was still in high school.
You glad to get out of the way, aren't you?
Oh, yes.
That was the hardest time in my life. I had 2 daughters. Yeah. Them going to college, that's a time. That's such an expensive deal, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, it is. You know, well, Christina and I'm going to tell you, we it was a team effort, but Christina gets a lot of the credit for everything that our girls have accomplished, and we're very proud of both of them. My oldest daughter went to the University of Alabama and then Cumberland Law School and graduated there last year, and she's in Birmingham.
My old daughter has the same thing.
Yeah.
She went to Alabama and Cumberland and practiced law in Birmingham.
There you go. And then my youngest was the last graduating class of Birmingham Southern, and she is now in the Peace Corps in North Africa. And she's been there for about 14, 15 months, and she's got another year, a little bit more, but she loves where she is, loves serving. So, we're proud of them.
You know, Rhett, the other way you get around saying you got your daughters out of the house, but you also sold your tie business.
Yes, sir.
So you're in the perfect time of life, 50 years old. That's the perfect scenario to go to Congress.
Yes, sir.
Having footprints in both parts of the area of the district, run a successful business. You've got. What were you going to do with your time if you didn't? Would you wake up with somebody came and wanted to buy your business or what that was?
Well, when Jim Whaley bought me out, and he was wanting to expand, and Jim's been a good friend for 30 years.
Does he say his name Willie or Whaley? I thought it was
Whaley.
Yeah,
Jim Whaley.
Uh-huh.
And he's been a good friend for 30 years, and he was wanting to expand and wanted to talk to me about it, and we came to a deal, and we were blessed to sell it, and we were blessed to own it. But it was a great day, and it has afforded me more time to do working at the state representative and now run for Congress. And to answer your question, I was happy as a state representative, and I never, had goals, aspirations of doing anything more. But I think you hit it on it just a minute ago when Congressman Moore decided to run for Senate. That opportunity opens, that door opens. I just think it was a perfect time in my life, and timing is everything. And with the support and help of Senator Britt, which we were very thankful for, and to have her encouragement and to do this, because you're right, Senator Britt and I do have a great working relationship going back, and we do have that bond of enterprise, and it was just perfect, and the caveat to having both sides, Steve, you probably know this because you're a historian, but Baldwin County in that district, that first congressional district, makes up about 40%.
Is it that much
of the voting populace?
I did not know it was that high.
Vote, when it comes to and look,
40%.
Yes, sir. Look, there's no doubt we have a long road.
You don't get into the county of Mobile.
Yes,
you
get about half of Mobile County.
You get half Mobile?
Yeah, the southern part and kind of behind the airport and to the north.
Who is the second biggest county then? Houston?
I would say Houston probably.
They're more in Houston than they are in Mobile County.
It would be pretty close numbers-wise, because they took out the Mobile city pretty much, Spring Hill to all the way to Pritchard, Chickasaw, Saraland. Satsuma, all that's in Congressman Figure's district, and so, but we do have a long way to go, and we need 7 more months, but we have a great path for victory, with the fact that we've already raised $500,000 in just a few weeks. And the fundraising is not slowed down. But not only that, and talking about the map of it, Baldwin County, having grown up there, my family's still living down there, we've already talked about that, and having a business and raising daughters in the Wiregrass, the path to victory is you win the Wiregrass, which we feel pretty good about with the, and you alluded to this at first with our representatives and senators down there.
And they're going to work for you, already are.
They already working for us, and we know a lot of people there, and family, and we know a lot of people in Baldwin County. If we win Baldwin County, we win the Wiregrass, you win the race. That's what Congressman Moore did to beat Jerry Carl, and that's what we're going to do. We just have a better, we just have more people that we know in Baldwin County, so we feel good about it. And like I said,
Baldwin County, if it's 40%, it has changed a lot when you were first born.
Yes, it has changed tremendously. It is the 6th fastest growing county in the country.
I wondered about it. I knew it was Alabama. Yeah. It's fast growing those counties around Huntsville.
Yeah, right. That's right. People want to be by the water.
That's what it is, isn't it?
It is.
Speaking of that, Enterprise has benefited from that, from 67 coming down thugh there.
Oh, yes, sir. Enterprise, but it goes back to Fort Rucker. But yes, 167 going from Troy to all the way down to Panama City and going through Enterprise, I think people look around and go, hey, you know what? Especially if they're former military and you have the PX on base and you have the VA stuff there with the new home. I think people have realized that Enterprise, with a great school system and great hospital, and we have a lot to offer. And
I'm surprised a lot of snowbirds don't retire in Enterprise.
Well, I tell you, the whole 1st Congressional District has a lot to offer. Dothan has a lot to offer.
It sure does.
Dothan is the medical hub of the Wiregrass in the 3 states, Georgia, Florida, and Alabama. Everybody goes to Dothan, and it's extremely important.
Large employer.
Yes.
Well, Rhett, I'd hate to say our time's up, but folks, we got to have had a State Representative Rhett Marques as our guest tonight. He is one of the outstanding members of the House of Representatives and one of the leaders of the Wiregrass delegation. He's running for the sort of new 1st Congressional District, which encompasses Baldwin County and the Mobile area and the Wiregrass, and he's be on the Republican primary this May, so it's right around the corner. And thank you, viewers, for watching. We thank Rhett Marques for being with us. Thank y'all. Thank you, Rhett.
Thank you, Steve.
This has been Alabama Politics with Steve Flowers, a production of Troy University Television. Opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of Troy University, its administration, faculty, staff, or students.